The World Cup, as you know, in full swing, and with it, warnings about human trafficking.
But does trafficking actually increase when major sporting events come to town? KHOU 11 Investigates dug through years of arrest data and found the answer isn't as simple as many believe. Here's Marcelina Benito.
For 2 weeks now, the World Cup has been one big party. Goal after goal, cheered by hundreds of thousands in host cities, including right here in Houston.
I'm sure there'll be World Cup specials advertised.
But those specials can land you in jail. Yasmin Vafa is co-founder and executive director of Rights for Girls.
Anytime you have large numbers of individuals, and predominantly men, flock to any one city and you throw in celebrations and parties, you can see this potential for increased demand for commercial sex.
For months leading up to the World Cup,
Houston will not be a safe haven for human trafficking.
Officials warned about the risk of sex trafficking during major events. Billboards around town and up in Dallas, just a part of the campaign to try and prevent it during the world's biggest sporting spectacle.
When you look for it, you will see it.
Houston, no stranger to hosting major events, so KHOU 11 Investigates analyzed years of court data to see what happens when the spotlight comes to town. During Super Bowl 51, human trafficking arrests jumped from an average of fewer than 4 during the same time in previous years to 22. Prostitution arrests also surged from about 36 to 159.
The national championship trophy!
But the pattern didn't last. When Houston hosted the Final Four in 2023, KHOU 11 Investigates found just one human trafficking arrest, in line with other years. Prostitution arrests, however, told a different story, rising to 39, the highest total in 5 years.
Perez hits a high drive center field.
And then there's the World Series. When the Astros reached the Fall Classic, human trafficking arrests were generally higher than normal, including a spike to 12 in 2019. At the same time, prostitution arrests were actually lower than average.
The fact that there's not a direct causation does not mean there's not a relationship.
Charisse Charleswell with PACT says the data points to a larger reality.
It's in our backyards. It's not just this one event we should be focusing on.
Is it hard, admittedly, to detect some of this out in the open?
Yes, it is.
But groups like PACT are making sure Texans know what to look for. 2.6 million nationwide, including hospitality workers here in Houston, have been trained to spot potential sex exploitation.
It's important to realize this is something that's happening all year round, and it won't disappear once the games end. It's happening all the time.
Experts say there are red flags to look out for. They include someone who appears fearful, isn't free to speak for themselves, or looks to another person for permission before answering questions. Always trust your instincts, and if something doesn't feel right, you can call the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 888-373-7888. Back to you.